Today is February 2nd, 2024. My name is Marcia Bernard Cuccaro, and I'm a member of the Nevada Women's History Project. Today we're interviewing Kathy Sisolak, former First Lady of Nevada. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Marcia.
It's been a while since we've talked. I know you were sort of asked this in your initial interview, but did you find challenges with time management between your professional career and public obligations that you hadn't foreseen during your 4 years of being First Lady?
I did not have any issues with time management between my professional career and public obligations. Because I own my business, I can create flexibility in my schedule when appropriate. In addition, during COVID, there was little to no in-person obligation, so time management was less of an issue. During the initial months of COVID, Steve was in Carson City full-time, so the safest way for me to see him was to drive back and forth to Carson City, and that was a bit time-consuming. Other than those instances, time management was not an issue.
You had a single office assistant in Carson City that coordinated your activities. Was that enough, or do you think there should be one in each region?
A single office assistant in Carson City was sufficient for me. When staff was needed to assist me in the South, they accommodated me with someone in the governor's office, which was fine for the activities I attended.
With a foot in both the North and South living areas, what did you find the most common misconception residents of each area thought about each other?
There's a perceived line between residents of the North and the South. I think it's only natural the residents of both areas seek to protect their way of life and the environment in which they reside. In that respect, the North and the South are no different than many other states, like California, between San Francisco and Los Angeles. There are and there will always be differences of opinion, and that is not necessarily a bad thing.
One of your platforms was financial literacy for youth, and you were appointed to the State Financial Literacy Council, where you hope to develop awareness and develop financial literacy education for K through 12 parents and community members alike. Did this council develop such an awareness program, and how would you rate your success with that goal?
I think the program was extremely successful. The Nevada Department of Education, along with the council, developed a repository website that provided training tools that educators can access online. We vetted and made recommendations for multiple K through 12 curriculum and programs. We hosted 2 educator summits, partnered with Green Our Planet to host farmers markets, and sponsored Financial Literacy Month. And I'm sure they're doing many more things since I left the council.
You initiated the statewide arts program, First Lady Presents, to feature contemporary artists of Nevada, and you displayed their work in the governor's mansion, as well as hosting programs on this topic for the State Museum. Can you assess how this program was received?
We were able to elevate the creative talents of artists and cultural bearers in our Silver State. The First Lady Presents evolved into an online curatorial essay during COVID, which compared contemporary Nevada artist portfolio juxtaposed to an artist or theme from the collection from the Nevada State Museum in Carson City. The program's intent was to promote and expand the visibility of the diverse artistic talents in Nevada while educating the public on our museum collection. The artwork was displayed in the mansion for 6 months at a time. The program has enjoyed media attention from PBS Reno, Americans for the Arts in Washington, D.C., and many other promoting Nevada artists. While we were also embraced by both the Chinese and Spanish news media in Nevada, this resulted in artist interviews, television features, state museum artwork acquisitions, and artist sales.
COVID had to have put a dent in that.
It did, because we were intending initially to change the artists on a monthly basis, but then it turned into 6 months, and that's how we displayed the artwork. The artists really appreciate it.
Did your initial expectations or assumptions change during your 4 years in the mansion?
Well, as we discussed the last time we talked, I had no expectations or assumptions at the beginning of the term. I had no idea what the role of First Lady was, and I had not talked to anyone about it. At first, I did not understand the value of the position and what role I could play in serving the state. After 4 years at the mansion, I now realize that the position is very important. And as First Lady, you can make a difference in someone's life, even if it's in a small way or through representation. We found that being a guest at an event was important.
So, do you think there should be a manual for the First Lady?
No, because it's a position that's not defined. I think that each First Lady should define how they want to be in this role. And I think that makes sense. Perhaps maybe a bit of discussion before a First Lady takes office might be helpful.
Did you meet the current First Lady before she went into office? Or
I
maybe you
did.
knew her?
I knew her, of course, at events, but we never spoke anything about this position. I did have a chance to speak to her prior to her taking office.
During our first interview, you said that you'd experienced no problems in going out into the community, being recognized and left alone. But unfortunately, you did experience a couple instances of racist comments and you were accosted by a couple men. Has your return to private life eliminated these kinds of intrusions into your life?
On my own, I did not experience any intrusions, but when I am with Steve, he is recognized and his friendly, open nature invited interactions with the public. Those exchanges were largely very positive. People come up to Steve and thanked him for his service and are very kind. I've only experienced one or two instances, particularly right after the election, where there was unkindness. Nothing lately.
Good. I would have breathed a big sigh of relief, I think, if it had been me leaving the mansion. What were some of the immediate changes you experienced in transition from public exposure to private life?
Immediate changes were the very few phone
Relief?
calls. No, I enjoyed being First Lady. Immediate changes were the very few phone calls or invitations. I had no idea how abrupt that aspect of the transition would be. It might have been different if Steve were termed out as opposed to being unelected, but of course I will never know that answer. And in discussion with others in similar positions, it was not a unique experience.
What are some of the things that you miss, and what are the things that you are relieved about not having to do again?
I miss the people that we worked with at the state, particularly Kristen Diller, the mansion's executive coordinator. It was such a pleasure to get to know and work with some of the most amazing people. I really also enjoyed traveling the state and meeting so many great people, visiting Creech Air Force Base, meeting the various Native American people, spending time at beautiful Lake Tahoe, and hosting the film festival in Ely, where I was born. I don't miss the times when we were assaulted at the restaurant or when there were protesters with guns in front of the mansion.
I remember that little incident because I
Mhm.
lived not too far from there. Did your experience as First Lady change you in any way? And if so, what were the changes?
The job allowed me to meet different people with diverse and varied opinions and positions. Getting to know them allowed me to better understand them and appreciate what drives them.
How has your experience as First Lady influenced your life as you now live it?
Experiences I've had would not have been possible had I not been First Lady. I met many people, including entertainers, dignitaries, past presidents. My fondest memories are of meeting and hearing the life stories of so many regular Nevada residents. They are a special group, and I am glad to have been able to meet so many of them. The way I live my life now is no different than before. What is different is the knowledge I gained that I would not otherwise have known. It is this unique experience that I think makes me a more evolved person, to live in the moment, to connect with others, and cherish the memories.
Do the First Ladies have a First Lady Club?
they do not.
Maybe they should.
Yes, I know one day when I was First Lady, I invited Dee McGuinn to the mansion and we had a lovely lunch. And I also invited her to the museum where they were displaying the First Lady gowns. She came with me and we had a really lovely time.
What is your lasting memory of your days in the mansion and of being First Lady?
So listen, it was an honor and a privilege to be First Lady and serve the state of Nevada, a place that I am very proud to call my home. I enjoyed living at the mansion and making sure the mansion was cared for during our term. I enjoyed the many events we hosted, which provided thousands of people an opportunity to see and appreciate the mansion and the grounds. Favorite time of year was welcoming hundreds to our door on Halloween to share some candy and opening up the mansion for public tours on Nevada Day. And of course, I have very fond memories of Carson, the mansion's tourists.
Have you been back since then?
I have not.
No driving to Carson City.
No.
Well, Kathy, I just wanted to say thank you so much for doing this. Do you have anything you might want to add?
No, it was my pleasure to be, of course, an honor to be First Lady. I do want to talk about what you mentioned before is what I felt the most important contributions to the First Lady office. And I was asked to speak at many events, and oftentimes I was not just another voice, but the voice. I found that particularly true with the AAPI community. The API community identified with my heritage and culture, of course. The API community in so many ways have expressed how grateful they are that someone from our community was representing them in the governor's office. I am proud that I was able to be a role model for them, to strive to reach the highest level of local government and can make a difference in their lives. This visibility was particularly important during the height of the API hate rhetoric. And I wanted to make sure that API voices and stories were elevated as part of the discussion. We made sure they had a seat at the table for those critical discussions, and we were able to demonstrate that our elected leaders are working with us and for us all.
Well, representation is really a key thing for everybody on this earth. In this country, we've been represented, but not by all of us. We've had pretty one-sided representation. So it was really great that you were able to do that. And hopefully in the future, we'll have some more representation that people can look up and say, oh, that person looks like me.
I hope so.
So thank you so much. And look forward to finding yourself on the website in video on the Nevada Women's History Project website.
Thank you so much for the interview. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you again sometime.
I hope so. Thank you.